Hey, peace and empowerment family. It's your brother Warren King, DCTC, back at it again. All right, we got a dope episode coming to you today, and I have my sister, my home girl, representing the 619 out there in San Diego, Shontay. She's here with us today, and you already know what time it is. We're going to be speaking about dealing with being let down. We all been through it. We all experienced it some type of way, some shape, form, or fashion. But we're going to go into it today, and we want to make sure we hear from you all as well. So everybody that's listening, you know I always appreciate you here. You all the family, the SOI family, Speak On It family. You know what we do. So let's get right into it. But other than that, how you doing today, my sister? It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm doing well out here in San Diego. Got the warm weather, but I'm ready, excited about the show today.
All right. No, I'm glad. I couldn't think anybody better have on me with this today. So no, that's awesome. So yeah, with everything going on out there, like how's life been treating you? Like how's everything going for the most part? The family, work, anything, what's going on?
I mean, let's date back real quick. 2020 was a year. It was great, actually, a lot of growth in it. 2021, it's been I've had a lot of changes in my life, a few letdowns, but overall everything's good. Family's healthy, the kids are healthy. I'm gonna be a grandma, you know what I mean? Like
young grandma, awesome. Y'all out here, the young grannies.
Right. So I'm trying to, work on that granny body. But besides that, life has been good. Overall, just a few letdowns in the beginning of the year, but growth,
Yep.
So here we are.
Awesome. No, and that's wonderful to hear. I'm glad, family. I'm glad everybody doing well. I'm glad you're doing well. Like that's the biggest part. Like, I have a cousin that had birthday today. He's out in Cali too. And I was like, hey, anything I can pray for, anything you want to manifest together? He said, man, just more health and strength. I'm like, they're like, yeah, we keep it that simple. Like you get to that part, we can work with everything else, but first thing first, let us get to that part first. Let us get that health and strength going so we can make it through the day, make it through the week, make it through the month, so on and so forth. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I'm doing okay on my end. Like I said, like I sharing with folks dealing with certain health things. But like I said, I'm here. I'm pushing forward. I don't have no quit in me. So, I'm a warrior to the end. So, keep striving and fighting, showing the love and getting the love from, our people with our people. And just staying informed and informative. So it's a lot going on. So we just gonna get right into it. I'm gonna have some music in the background. I like to always have the mood and flow nice, for everybody. And just because these are conversations between family. Like that's how I feel, between loved ones. So that's how we're gonna keep it rolling. So I'm gonna get into the first question of the day, and we just gonna ask questions with each other, and anybody that's in the live, they can be able to see it and chat and do their thing too. So first question I'm thinking about is, how do you handle disappointments and letdowns? Like, how do you handle those things?
Well, it depends on what it is, but I'm going to keep it 100 from the jump. I always pray on it. And even my 17-year-old, she just had a letdown the other day, and she was like, she came in my room yesterday and she's like, Mom, I need your advice. And I said, pray on it. And I know that sounds like the answer, that people just say, but no seriously, doubt. That's where I start. A lot of times with me, it comes with a good cry too. You know what I mean? But what I have learned in 2021 that has been different for me is that I've sat still. As I pray and meditate on it, I start writing down. I'm like, all right, this was a letdown, but how am I going to overcome this? And so that's what my new thing now is, that I'm writing down, and not just like basic goals or the next step. I mean, step by step on how I'm about to achieve greatness. You know what I mean? And I also talk to friends. I'm real close with my mom, and I have a couple of, close girlfriends that I call and run things off, because you kind of have to pray. You kind of got to throw things off at people, you know what I mean? And then you just start making a list on how you're going to have your comeback. So that's kind of how I handle mine these days. But I definitely get a good cry. I ain't going to lie. I'm the biggest crybaby you may know. But, for me, that's kind of healing. You know what I mean?
Regardless.
Yeah. So that's what I got. What about for you? In letdowns and stuff. What areas in life do you feel like does it hit you the worst? Like, and let's give examples, like family, we have letdowns with our family. We have letdowns with friends, in relationships, work, dealing with some of, let's say in the last 5 years, what kind of letdowns have you dealt with and how did you overcome it?
Well, no worries, but I'm gonna answer the question. Like, this is a conversation. So I'm like this as a person. Whatever you ask me, I'm gonna ask you back. Whatever you answer me, I'm gonna give you an answer back. So I'm not gonna skip over nothing. I'm not hiding from nothing. So I'm gonna answer the question I asked you. We're gonna do it just like that. So the way I handle letdowns and disappointments, especially with understanding that they're gonna come with life, that was like the biggest thing, is accepting that they come with life. Right? Because we all dealing with each other and whatever our perfectly imperfect vessels, and bodies and spirits are. So for me, I'm like, hey, what you bring to me is what I have to see and view. And my expectations are little to none until we have shared expectations. Right? So when our expectations become shared, then my disappointment levels, might be a little bit more higher. But in the beginning, initially, until we come to agreement on with consistent things, I'm chilling. Like, I don't expect you to say and do, think everything the way that I'm going to feel comfortable with or nothing like that, because it's almost impossible, because you come into me as who you are. So I have to learn who you are. You have to learn who I am, how I am. And those things take time. Some people can learn it quicker than others. Some going to be slower than others. But when you genuinely care, you learn. So I handle it, really simplistic. Like, hey, I don't expect much from you unless we agree upon it. So, whatever you do or don't do, I expect the unexpected anyway. So I'm not feeling so let down, defeated, depleted with my energy and spirit and on things of that nature. So that's how I carry that, and that's how I try to share with others, to be, to gain that wisdom and understanding on it, and say, what, I don't know this person for real. They don't really know me for real, but they want to. They show they genuinely want to. So when they say or do something that I don't like, I'm chilling, like, let me let them know, hey, I'm not really feeling that, but I'm not mad at you, because you wouldn't have known, because we're just getting to know each other.
But what about the people that know you, family, maybe coworkers and stuff like that? Friends, how do you handle it with the people that know you, and that we do have expectations from?
Yeah, like, no, I'm really I'm universal with that now. Like I from me speaking with my therapist, my wise counsel, with other people, family and friends, learning from strangers, all of the above. Literally, that's how I came to that realization. That's how I came to understanding that it doesn't matter who you are and how long we've known each other. I am not going to feel as bad when you disappoint me or let me down or even hurt me, because I expect the unexpected. I expect you to do something that has me feel happy or be joyful with you, and something that's going to be like, dang, that kind of sucks. Like, I expect all of that, because I don't expect anybody to be perfect, anymore. I used to have that mindset, like, dang, they supposed to know me. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to be, we did all this together. We have all this together. And I'm feeling like, damn, like totally defeated. Now it's like, I expect you to say something I don't like. I expect you to do something I don't like. So when you do it, yeah, we got to converse about it, get some quick, healthy, helpful reminders. But other than that, I'm chilling.
Okay. All right.
It's that way. You know what? Because my mom's a warrior, and I grew up with my mom and my sister, and that was the family. When my dad and my mom got divorced, and I see my mom worry about a bunch of stuff. And you, as a mother, as a black woman, like you can speak in a different way and understand a different way that, you know, my mom or my sister as a mother, you know, can, and other mothers can understand, especially, you know, as a melanated woman. But for me as a man, like I don't really do a bunch of worrying because I'm a man of action. I'm like, what's the issue? What's the problem? Let's speak on it and let's figure it out and keep it rocking. Like, so I'm like, I don't do worrying, because when I start worrying, I go to a different place. And my worrying as a warrior king is like, I'm going to like extreme actions when I worry. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to extreme emotional place where I'm not being able to control my emotions when I allow myself to worry. So yes, I get concerned. Or anything natural, like confusion and frustration, all natural things. I feel those things. I'm not a robot, but I don't allow worrying to overtake, you know, my emotions in my actions and react.
Yeah, and I understand that, and I think that's a great standpoint, because, you know, sometimes like my sister is a lot similar to how you're describing. Like I remember one time it was on Easter, there's this crazy earthquakes that we're known in San Diego for earthquakes, right? Crazy earthquake. Yeah, I'm like, like flipping out, like don't know what to do. My sister is like business. She's like handle business, and then, you know, we'll talk about it later. I understand that. So I understand the difference between worrying and then going and handling business. But my question, which I guess originally is your question, is handling letdowns. And you're saying not expecting things of people. And that's where I'm trying to dive into, because with family, and I don't think we should have expectations of everybody you meet, you know what I mean? But with family, your mom, your siblings, you have that. With your boss, right? You have expectations that, you know, you're going to get paid on time. You're going to do this, just like we have expectations of you. Friends, you know what I mean? You should have some kind of expectation. And when they do something that feels like a betrayal or a letdown of these expectations, sometimes it does sting. And I do agree, like what you're saying, where you should just address it and handle it and be able to move forward. So then I'm coming back to you. So are you saying though that you just don't? Are you saying you don't have expectations of people in general? I mean, worrying and having expectations and handling letdowns, I think, are different than
they are, but they correlate. And I had to learn this. Shontay, trust. Like, it's one of those things where, no, like I said, I'm not a robot. I feel plenty, but like I said, I've grown to a place and continuing to grow to sustain it in a place where it's like, I don't worry. I just take myself out of the equation when it's unnecessary or unhealthy to my progress, to the processes that I'm going through. Like I'm a business tech professional. So I've grew up doing a bunch of troubleshooting. So I look at things in a certain way and I'm troubleshooting. I'm trying to get to the least common denominator of why we having this issue. So I'm gonna look at every intricate part of that thing and say, hold on. This is what I think it might be. Now, let me bring it to you. You going to share or not share? You going to ask or not ask? But I'm going to do my part to say, guess what? This isn't going the way that I believe it should. Where's our shared expectation? Okay, that's not matching up. That does. Let's focus on what matches up and then do the other part later. Because when I allow myself to think only on what I believe the expectation is supposed to be, then that's when I'm setting myself up with a recipe for failure every time. I've done it. I've done it plenty of times. And I'm like, oh, that's not a good look. I'm thinking like I do a lot of different entrepreneurship things, going into business with people doing entertainment stuff. Like I'm DJing and MCing, and I got somebody that does promotion that we cool with. You know, that's why a lot of times they say don't mix family and business together. Like you can't do it with everybody. And I got somebody that's like family to me. That's a friend, that's been a friend for a long time, like a brother. And I'm like, dang, I ain't give up on you. Seems like you gave up on me. Like all these different situations happen. I'm like, oh, so I'm not a priority, you know, to what we're doing anymore. I'm not a focal point of what we're doing anymore. So I'm thinking in me, you still a focal point to me. You still a priority to me, but to him, I'm not. But we ain't even discuss it. So I'm like, I got to learn from that. If we don't converse and agree on it and then the actions take place, then it's just words.
Okay, well, I feel like that answers how I understood the initial question. So when that's how you handle letdowns in situations. You first figure out like what's going on, right? You have these conversations, and then you try to find a solution to move forward. Is what I'm understanding. Yeah. So okay, I'm back on the same page as you. At first, I thought you were like, I don't have letdowns. I'm like, hold up, brother, you don't. But I hear what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't allow letdowns to keep me down. I think that was kind of like what I was alluding to by answering it. Because I really, like I said, I just learned to keep it more simplistic. Yeah, because it's easy. You can get knocked down, but you don't got to stay down. So yes, that's why I was saying, no, I feel it. You know what I'm saying? That situation or multiple situations that led up to the end result was very hurtful. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't feel good at all. But I'm like, do I let it keep me down and not make any other moves? Like it's millions of other people I can work with. You know what I'm saying? It's other people that I can build and do things with and bring what I bring to the table and appreciate what they have, you know, and then move forward from there.
Absolutely. Here for it.
Yeah, not here for it all. So so I hope that does help and answer some for you and you know what I'm saying, our folks out, you know what I'm saying, listening, and definitely, you know, chatting, you know, and comment, you know, ask whatever questions you like, family. That's what we're here for. So let's keep it rolling. And any other questions you have in mind, so you know, that you want to share?
Yeah. So like I was saying before, like what is, you know, if we focus just on work, family, and let's go with work, family, and let's go with friendship. What out of those three, let's narrow it to 3 years, have you had the biggest letdowns? You know what I mean? And then how did you handle? Well, I already know how you handle it because you just told us, right?
Right. No worries.
what made that situation? One situation in the last 3 years out of those categories, what made that a letdown that really stands out for you?
No, I like that question. Thank you. So, Shontay, I would say that out of the, you know, in the most recent time frame, I feel like professionally, I've been let down the most. And the reason why I share that is because, like I said, I do business technology. So for those who don't know, that is a blend of finance and IT. So, you know, and being able to do those things within the world and the mainframe we're in has been very, very crazy because there's been a lot of shifts, especially with the pandemic, that, you know, being able to take place. So I think one of the biggest ones when I realized that it's a lot of ageism and racism inside of those workplaces. And I'll share it because when you go into these corporate or government places where I've worked at, even some nonprofits, they're looking at especially a Black man to be a certain type of way, right? And when I finally learned what the word professional means, I was actually shocked because nobody told me the real definition of professional. They told me the cookie cutter version of it, you know, and I'm like, yeah, I was raised to be respectful and considerate and courteous and kind and on time and do your work, right? Yeah, they didn't tell you that. No. You have to fake who you are in some ways, in some places, to actually get by. You can't go and be yourself and do your work and still be appreciated, accepted, and respected. You have to be someone else for 8 to 10 to 12 hours, right, just to make it. They don't tell you that part in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Or some places, they don't tell you that when you go to these certain colleges and schools and different things of that nature. Some people do. But I mean, when you talk about the broad scale of it, you don't see those specifics. You got to find an article. You got to find somebody that's awakened that actually cares to tell you the cold hard facts. I wasn't told a bunch of cold hard facts. It was just like, get them in. Get this black boy out the hood in somewhere where he can be okay, and then hopefully one day come back and give back. So professionally, I had to learn that, because now being older, you know, these people see your age when you put your age on the application, on profile, whatever you're filling out. And they're like, hold up, mid, late 30s, early 40s, black man. We can only use him for a certain amount of time. Like, so now we're putting them in another box, you know what I'm saying, that we already had them in, and like, nah, we can't do it. So I contract a lot of my work, and it's good and bad. It's, you know, advantages and disadvantages with everything. So I am contracted, but when I try to get into the federal jobs, no love. Even though the federal work is the same work I'm doing as a contractor. It's not different. It's just I'm getting the protection and different things like that of being in the government and saying, hey, I'm cushy now. I'm protected now. I get to do my work and boom, and, you know, find other things to do. They like, nah, whatever reason we want to decide, and we know the facts now, it's like, nah, we don't need an older black man in these positions. You see what I'm saying? We'd rather take a woman of color, you know what I'm saying, or a younger black, you know what I'm saying, black guy, and utilize him. And then when you enter places, you also see the different things that go on with the office politics. Because I cut my teeth on retail and restaurant, and it didn't matter where you came from. It don't matter with your background, your gender, or nothing. We care, like, do you do the work well? And then you can move up. Yes, it's still a little bit of politics here and there, but for the most part, it's like, do you do the work? Do you come on time? Do people appreciate you? Good, you're good. In those realms, you got to do so much more maneuvering that I didn't understand that needed to take place. So, you know, I failed in multiple ways, learning that and then accepting that and said, dang, I got to go into business for myself then. I'm making these people rich or sustaining their riches. I know what they're doing. I can learn. I can build forward from there. But then I'm doing something that's different that everybody's not used to going to a person or a black person for. So now it's like, dang, I'm back in another place where I'm ahead of my time, or, you know, people just aren't prepared for it yet. So people don't consider those things. And like, dang, why you ain't make it? Why you ain't doing that? Like, you not thinking about the idiosyncrasies that go into it that nobody tell you, or you just don't care. Yeah. So I think work-wise, professional-wise, is where I felt the most let down so far, in, you know, most recently, because I'm seeing how far, I'm reminded how far we are back from knowing about each other, supporting and encouraging each other. Because when people say black-owned business, what's the first type of business that come to mind when somebody say black-owned business?
I don't know. I would say clothing or something like
somebody
that.
Sell product. Somebody
Yeah.
sell something, right?
Yeah.
Right. Black-owned business don't just mean sell products.
Yeah, it's content. Everything. These days it's content and stuff like that. It's a lot of stuff.
Right. But that's what people are now trained through media to believe, that black-owned business only means somebody that sells something. The first thing they go to. So when people do like, hey, post your black-owned business, you will see 30, 40 retail things. I'm selling this, I'm selling that. Then you sprinkle in somebody like me, like, hey, I have a service that does something that you cut out the middleman, and you cut out the the outsourced people. You come right to me, your own brother, and get the help that you need. But people they're not used to that yet. So they don't see that and view that as a valuable service yet. But if I'm selling a t-shirt, I'm selling shea butter, I'm selling food or whatever, then they automatically say, oh yeah, you're a black-owned business that I need to look at and support. So we can't just say that it's others, it's us too, because we've been trained not to really know that we create civilizations from everything. The technology that we have is because we did it. That's why it's here. We just didn't get to run with it for multiple reasons. But
I know.
Yeah, so that's we speak on that here heavily. You know that. That's what I do. But the work part has been the most let down. Family and friends, I've been through that, going through my life. So that didn't hit me as it's hard recently because that's something I've been going through already. So I got what I was saying earlier. But professionally is where it hurt the most. It hit me the hardest. I've been, going through certain things financially because of it. So now it's like, okay, now we're maneuvering again. So, what speak on it on your end. What has factored in? What portions have affected you the most, family, friends, or professionally?
Well, I will have a two-part to that.
Okay.
I think what hurts the most is anytime it's family, you know what I mean? And so it may not be as big, but that's where my heartstrings are. So it can be something little, but I feel like the letdowns with family is what hurts the most. My biggest letdown, I would say, even in the last year, was work related. I worked for a doctor for almost 15 years. My kids grew up, I'm in the dental field. They grew up in the dental office because they had to come to work with mom. They didn't have before and after school. So they would come to work. I start work. I run them down to the bus. At some point it's like this whole thing. There's a lot of, I have 4 kids. There's a lot of school opportunities that I missed with them because my kids are my priority. But making sure that I was bringing home that bag was a way that I could. So I was always there for my boss. I've done so much, even personally assisting him with his family and different things. I used to go shopping because he would wait till the last minute for his wife. So I would go shopping for his wife. But so I put a lot into that. And when this pandemic hit, I think, and we were very close. And I have always said, I love him as a person. I really do. I consider him like family. Okay. I feel like a lot of work related stuff, I was disappointed by him a lot and often, but I always pushed through. Right. When the pandemic hit, he took something personal he was feeling about me, and he ended up furloughing me. And that sent me over the edge because I had a lot going on with my life at the time. I had in January 2020, I had moved out of my apartment, and my plan was to stay with friends and family for 3 months while I, got to get nest egg, you know what I mean? And then I was going to get an apartment by April. So he knew my apartment was coming up, you know what I mean? Like this was coming up. Now I'm going to be back and paying big San Diego rent, you know what I mean? How all this going on. So for him to just furlough me and use the excuse of the pandemic hurt really bad. And I've always been very respectful. I did kind of lose it. And I told him, because I told him, I'm like, dude, there was just 3 of us that worked in the office, you know what I mean? Me, him, and a front desk person. And I've been his longest employee he's ever had in his whole dental career. Wow. I've done so much. So I told him, I was like, my dude, this is like an airplane. You are the pilot and I'm the assistant pilot. We are the last people off this plane. So you let her off. You don't let me off. You know what I mean? He kept her and he let me go. It was literally the most hurtful thing. It hurt me deeply. I was extremely let down for a lot of reasons. And, it turned out to be a huge blessing in my life. I'm going to keep it 100. It literally, I've never in my life, I've been working since I was 16, had never got unemployment. Like if you were going to ever in your life get unemployment, that was the time because I was bringing home, we all know what we're all bringing home, right? So I was technically making more money sitting at home, taking care of myself because it took me a minute to heal from it. And what also hurt was, so then he ended up calling me back a few months later. I went back in June, and I had a bad attitude. And normally I don't. I'm like the most friendliest person. Like I let things go. Like in general, I had an attitude and I was pissed because I was hurt. You know what I mean?
That's what I know about you.
Yeah, like everybody's used to me being like, like I was not, you know what? And so he even sat down with me. He's like, Shontay, he's like, I need you to do. And I'm like, let me tell you what I can offer you. I can be professional, which I was. Right. I say, wait, and because everything I was doing was professional. What you guys were used to was me being Shontay, which is and this and that. I'm like, so there's a difference though. I was giving y'all personality. I was giving you guys me. I don't have to do that. Now I'm coming here being professional. I'm on it with my patients. I'm doing my job. I'm doing everything, but you don't get the key, you know, with me anymore. So I ended up, you know, he ended up saying some things to me, and I said, I need to go home. Like I had told him, he said he wanted to meet with me. I said, you may want to do it at the end of my day. He didn't. I went home that day. I prayed. I came back the next day. I said, Jesus told me to put in my 2-week notice. That's what the Lord told me.
Oh, you hollered at that.
And he was like, huh? Because he's known, like, it hasn't, you know, through my career with him, there's been a lot of things that I'm like, really, really, but I kept going. You know what I mean? But I felt led this time, and I really prayed about it. And so then what continued to make it more hurtful, and I don't think he believed I was going to live to my very last. He was sending me text messages talking about he'll give me an extra $1. Like, keep your dollar. Like, I need a like, I'm easy. My love language is words of affirmation. You better start saying something sweet to me. Like, and telling me you're giving me $1 is not sweet. You know what I mean? Maybe apologizing for your behavior. So I ended up putting in my 2 weeks, and on my last day, he just said, leave your keys on the counter. And that was the biggest letdown. I cried all the way home.
Wow.
I called and I talked to my daughter, because it's like I've sat here and watched people retire from you that work less than I, like, you know what I mean? They maybe worked for you for 3 years, but you threw parties, you did all this stuff. And me, who put in almost 15 years, you just said, leave the keys, no high five, no, you know, none of that. It was just, and I walked out that door. I did come home, and my youngest daughter had a cupcake. She ran to the store, got a cupcake, got a card, and thanked me for my service. And that meant everything to me. That's the kind of kids I got. You know what I mean?
Right. Respect.
But so I think in the last year, that was my biggest letdown. You know, I will say now, a month later, his wife reached out to me, because like I said, we've been family. I've been there. Right. And that started the healing. And him and I are now extremely, extremely close again, which I value. But it took time. It took a process, you know what I mean, to get to that healing part, because I have expectations, you know what I mean, of him as a human being. And so I would say that was my biggest letdown in the last, 12 months. But I, just like everything, I'm like you, I recover. I don't stay down. Like my kid, I call my youngest daughter my bounce back kid. She doesn't even let me be down for long. She's like, all right, we about to bounce back. This is what we're about to do. And that's how we do it. But good. I would say that was my biggest letdown.
Okay. No, and thanks for sharing that. Like, and it's wild. I mean, it's a reoccurring theme. I have multiple of us have been let down when it comes to family, for sure, because that's the closest thing to us. So it's going to hit different. But also in the workplace, because, and it's wild how that correlates, right? Family, you see before work, after work, right? Work, you're in the middle of the day for whatever time frame all day. Like, but I mean, like in the midst of the 24 hours, right? Like, depending on what type of work you do, you at work the other hours of the day. For those who work full time, multiple part times, full-time parents, different things, right? It hurts and it hits different in a lot of occasions, because you're with these people for all this amount of time frame outside of your loved ones, right? Outside of your blood, outside of somebody that you're trying to build and connect with in a genuine way and help be your family, you be their family, right? That comes in as a friend. So yeah, it's different. It's different, but it's going to hit different. But that's why I'm glad that we're sharing that. I'm glad that we're not afraid to speak about these things, and we're not here on the show and on the podcast as well, because I blend it in. So those who listen on the podcast, know that you're not by yourself in these things. We've all been disappointed, let down, hurt, and different things with our friends, family, and in the workplace. So it happens. But I think that kind of leads to the next question.
Can we acknowledge, though, that you got a jam playing in the background? I mean, Mr. DJ.
Hey, I'm modesty here. You know, no, it's all love. Like we're gonna keep this thing jamming. So, you know, I appreciate that. I appreciate you as always. So, like like I said, I try to have balance and brevity to, you know, these conversations, to these discussions, because, you know, these are real life things. So it'd be hard, but I know, like for me, I learn better when it's a balance, right? When it's a balance of humor and seriousness, I can learn so much better. And a lot of other people do, because it's not so much up here and it's not so much down there. It's even killed. So we're going to keep that going. So the next thing I have in mind is, can you usually make a distinction between bad and indifference, and how?
Run that by me.
No worries. Can you usually make a distinction between bad and indifference, and how?
Ooh, can you answer that question first, and then I'll come after you, because I don't even know. I don't know what you're talking about. But give me an example. I'll feed off of you.
Look, let's do it. So yeah, so no worries. So this came to mind in the midst of, you know, the topic, right? So a lot of times when I've seen and I've experienced being let down is when I didn't see the differences. So people usually say good or bad. Then they start adding in good, bad, and indifferent. But a lot of folks get stuck on indifference being bad because it's not what they want. So it's like I automatically go from good to bad and never see indifference, and don't see how indifference is important. Like we in a relationship with anyone, work, family, friends, somebody is going to think differently than one of us. And that's the whole point. That's the beauty in having someone else there with their own ideas, thoughts, processes, and experiences. So with indifferences, I appreciate indifference. Like some people don't like indifference. They want to have clones of themselves. Like when I date, I don't date me unless I'm single. You know what I'm saying? I date someone that is different from me with a purpose. Like I want you to see things differently to me. I want you to have different experiences to me. Of course, the more similar ones we have, the better. But that's not going to stop me from rocking with you because, hey, you know, you didn't experience like that. You don't see things spiritually like me. You don't see things politically just like me. No, I just want you to appreciate my differences of how I see things, view things, and how I act and react, just like I'm gonna do with you. But we have to give each other opportunity to do so. So for me, I learned to appreciate indifferences so much more. And it just and how it came about was actually me getting into the IT field more strongly, because like I said, I cut my teeth on retail and restaurant, and I could have just easily been in that comfort zone and just do it. But my mind works in a certain technical way that I was like, I need to take advantage of this. But it was indifferences because people were like, but what if it don't work out? What if it don't, you do this? You already didn't make it to a certain level when it comes to the music industry and entertainment business. So you want to fail at this too? You see what I'm saying? And I'm like, failures don't define me. They show more of how adverse I can handle things. And I'm built with a certain toughness, so I can handle that. But I learned things that's going to take me further in life anyway, and I can help serve other people. So it's not a failure the way you see it. It's just that I didn't make it to a certain way where many people don't. Look at basketball players. It's only 15 people on the max on a roster. It's billions of people in the world that play millions of people that play basketball and would love to be in the NBA or the G League or whatever. They ain't making it. So it don't mean that they a failure because they didn't make it and they made strides. It means they just didn't make it. They can do something else. So that's how I look at it. I said, know what? Indifferences are beauty. Like I want to see what you think that can help me help me realize something maybe I don't, and vice versa. And then we come to our own understanding in agreement that makes our relationship work well within business, within everything. Ain't no basketball players playing the same position. You can do similar things. A big man can probably dribble and a little man can rebound, but they not playing the same position, and that's the beauty of it on the team. So yeah, that's my portion.
There you go. Well, my answer is, it's almost a given that you got to deal with people in, the indifference, but you're right. Good, bad, or indifference. That's actually like one of my favorite things to say.
Make this help people. That's why she don't speak on it. Just speak on it.
Right. But it's funny because I feel like it's one of those things that we say and you don't really think about. That's why when you ask me that question, I'm like, what are you talking about? And it's funny that you say that statement because I'm like, I say that all the time, but it's almost like when you get married, right? And where I work now, it's a lot of older people, and I'm seeing a lot of spouses having to take care of their spouses, and it always brings me back to when you get married. They say good times, bad times, good health, and bad health, right? And you're like, oh yeah, sign me up for this, and then bad health hits, and then you're like, whoa, this is, it's not what you were thinking at the time. So I guess we say these things and you don't put much thought into it. So my answer to that is that I think is common and regular to deal with people that are different from you, right? And you got to kind of be okay with it. I've always said, I want to date someone that's just like me. I feel like I'm pretty awesome. So I'd rather have someone that is just like me because it kind of like my soulmate is someone, is an Aquarius like me, and we're a lot alike, and it's great. Because, we're very similar. And so I recognize where that can be good. But then if you think about growth, if you're always around people that are just like you, what growth do you have? You know what I mean? And so that's where it's good to be able to, deal with people that are different. My best friend is always like, we have this talk every once in a while. She wants to follow me on Twitter. And I'm like, nah, sis, you can't follow me on Twitter because I love her and we have a lot of things alike. But we are different. Politically, we're different. Politically, we're different on a lot of beliefs. And I'm like, best friend, like you might hate me. Like if you see some of the shit I say, like that's just the way it is. And she's more conservative than me. I may be saying some nasty shit one moment and then like praising the Lord the next. I don't know, but we are different. And so
I can attest to that, but at the same time, I'm like, that's funny to hear you say it.
Right. So, but that's just how I am. And so when I do
more silly than nasty, but yeah,
exactly.
Your page is pretty it's pretty sane.
It is
compared to many. Lord, yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm more silly. That's exactly. I always tell people I'm funny, and people are like, you're not that funny. I'm like, I think I am, but whatever. But so I'm okay with and I feel like most people that are actually I consider close, like my best friend, people that I date are different. And I do see the beauty in it because it will push you, you know what I mean? And it challenges you. And the push and the challenge is great, And so
we gotta be specific, especially in the right direction.
In the right direction. And now in the right.
Like, push me off a cliff. And I'm happy about that.
Right. Well, if it's a hot day and there's a nice river underneath, I don't know. That might be a good thing. But you know what I mean? Like, so I'm here for people being different. I feel like I am in general with people I deal with are a lot different because I'm well balanced. I feel like I'm a well balanced person, like as far as things in life. I also have a level of and I think you've heard me say this, like, I don't give a fuck about like a lot of things where I'm that deep where, where a lot of people that are close to me, like they're firm in what they believe, you know what I mean? And I just let them be them and I love them on the level that they are, but guess what? I have an expectation for you to love me for where I am and be respectful of me. So that's my answer. I'm here for indifferences. I think if you're an adult and functioning adult, you should be. And it might be a problem if you can't handle differences. I don't know. You may want to see somebody for that. I don't know.
Yeah, most definitely. No, I definitely think people definitely want to see somebody for that. Like, yeah, I mean, it's not easy for everyone because it's more comforting. Like you said, somebody that you feel like your soulmate is very similar to you. Look how comforting that is to have someone that is like, I say something, I share something, I ask something. It's like I'm speaking and hearing the best parts of myself, right? Like that's a mad comforting thing. But when you mature, you get that certain maturation stage in your life, you hit that part and you say, hold on, this is a little bit different than what I'm used to being at, but I like it. Like, okay, that means like, no, I can handle indifferences. Like you see it this way when it comes to religion, spirituality, politics, certain types of foods, TV shows, movies, music. But it's like, is it what you doing hurting me or helping to bring something to the table that I might have missed or not seeing in a certain way that can help continue me to have a certain balance, if that's what I strive to have, right?
Absolutely.
So like that's where I go with, and I'm glad that you stay in that realm too and continue to build on it, because it's a forever learning process. Like no matter what I learn and feel like I know, it's still more to understand. It's still somebody else that I can learn with and from. So it's because it's a lot out there, and not just here on Earth either. But that's for another topic. We'll get to that. So I asked my question. What else you have you want to speak on?
Okay, so this is, and I don't know, it might be a good ending question, but so maybe I should skip in so we about to wrap it up. But I would throw it out there, and if you want to do something different, I'm open to going something else. But I think it's it's one thing to always talk about, downfalls of being let down, and we've talked about these hard letdowns, how we handle them and stuff like that. But I think what triumphs do we get from these letdowns? You know what I mean? Like as far as goals or realizations, or even like a growth within yourself, you know what I mean? Because life comes with these letdowns, but it's like, okay, you can flip that, you know what I mean? And usually you'll find something positive when you're done with your healing, you're done with your processing, you're done with all of that, is usually some kind of triumph that comes from that. And so I don't know if you want to go with that. I mean, that might be a good wrap up. I don't know. This is your show. You tell me, TC.
No worries. Like I said, all of these things that I share and what we do here are continued conversations. Of course, we have to have a certain cutoff point, but these are always continued conversations. So, I like that question. I think that's a really good question. And, it's something that, I'm actually looking at even right now to see like, okay, what are things, or what is something I feel like out of tragedy I triumphed over, right? And I look at myself as a champion in the midst of chaos, right? Because I've been through a lot of traumatic events in my life, and been close to others who've been through their own as well. Some even deeper, levels of trauma than mine. And with a kind purpose. And I'm like, okay, bet. Like, okay, we're going through these things. How are we going to get out of this? How are we going to move past and move forward and move on? Right. And it's a process too. It's no specific time frame. How are we going to do it? So I think the biggest triumph for me so far is my full appreciation of mental health therapy. I think that one helped take me to a whole different place, because religiously I was already at a certain level, right? Where I had a certain level of understanding, and I can be connected to just about anybody on any level when it comes to that part, especially within the God in heaven religions, right? On a street level, I had a certain understanding already because I was born and raised up in it, right? Scholastically, I'm a lifetime learner, so I'm always studying, researching, different things like that. Student, blank canvas, when it's something new. But mentally, my health was depleted. I was trash when it came to that. Like, I wasn't seeing things the way they needed to be seen and how they connect together, and also being able to be present within the midst of certain situations. It was so much that I had that I was used to having crutches of substance abuse with, within my sexual nature, like, that I was like, this is gonna, this is a crutch for me, like, with ways within certain relationships, my dependence on others for certain things. It was a lot. And I would say I started really taking it serious about 8 years ago, but I didn't have someone that I was like, I can truly feel like I can learn and help start getting a certain healing from until about 3 years ago. And from then on, the universe has just been dropping here, boom, 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 boom. Even the way I connect with people, it's, I've always been able to connect, but like my sustaining of certain connections have been even stronger now. And it came from that, being able to even connect with you the way we did, that came from me having a certain emotional intelligence and emotional maturity to be able to say, hey, I need reasonable relationships that for whatever reason make sense, right? So that has been a huge triumph for me. And now I know how to find certain things, and I have certain things that help. So when I pray, when I meditate, and I'm looking to manifest things that the divine creator already gave me the tools for in being a source, and let me find resources, I'm like, oh, we're good. We're good now. I'm not saying it's going to always feel, good. It's always going to be perfect. But like, I know I can get past anything that's thrown at me, now, naturally and spiritually, mentally and spiritually. And then the physical things can come into place because you feel better. You can work out, exercise, and all that. When your mental and your spiritual is in a certain place and it's synergized, you like, oh yeah, I might be feeling this little pain here and there, this, that, and the third, but I'm still going to stretch at least. I'm still going, do my exercise. I'm still going to go for a walk or a jog or ride my bike, scooter, whatever. You're going to do something when those things are in place. So that is like for me has been like the biggest triumph is seeing how my mental health, how much more important my mental health is to helping connect everything else.
Love it. That's good. That's important.
Good question.
Especially in our community, it's very important. Not in our community, and let's shine on our kings, our Black men. You know what I mean? It's always that mental health balance and being able to take care of it and being healthy with it is everything, because you guys are the leads, you know what I mean? So if y'all ain't got it right up there, then we looking around, the queens that, the negatives, help guiding. We need you guys to be on top of it. So I love that. I love that. And that's a great, triumph for sure and goal that comes from it. As for me,
I'm dedicated to it. I'm just excited about, I'm gonna have a show dedicated to that with my therapist coming up soon too.
Love it.
You guys,
stay tuned
for that. Yeah, for sure.
Stay tuned. I love it. I think for me, a triumph that's, that, in recent times I've came with, because, I'll share a little piece and not getting all into it. But this year, the beginning of this year was the first time ever. And I'm 40 years old. I turned 40 in February this year. And in February was the first time I ever dealt with depression, like ever in my life. Like I hear, I've been sad because I've been through some shit. So I've been sad, whatever. But I don't use the word depression because I know people go through it. I have, been close to people that have been through it. I've seen it, I think everybody has on some kind of level seen someone go through it.
Oh, yeah,
And so when I was going through it, it was crazy. Like it literally was crazy. And even when I think about it now, it makes me sad when I think about Shontay during that period of time, because it's just like, gosh, sis, like it does, it makes me sad. And so the triumph I got from there. Well, one, let me just say, and I always talk about how amazing my kids are, but let me tell you, during that period of time, and I'll say it without, crying, but if I drop a tear, I'm sorry. I couldn't move.
Apologies needed.
This was a 3-week period, and some may say 3 weeks, but like anyone who's dealt with depression, 3 weeks, one day seems like,
eternity.
Like, I don't know. Yeah. So this is 3 weeks where like I didn't move. I couldn't get up and shower, and I love a good shower. You know what I mean? I wasn't eating anything. I spent a lot of time sleeping because I felt like, when I was asleep, at least it wasn't painful. You know what I mean?
Okay. That's real.
But my children, which I just they amaze me. And I have 4 kids, and one of them's married. So it was actually 5 of them, because my son-in-law would come too. My kids, literally, I would just be laying on the couch, sleep, and they would just sit around me. And so can you imagine these 5 human beings literally sitting around me, and God, and just the energy that they must, and no one said anything. No one would talk or say anything, but it was just, they sat around me. And I think that, okay, a tear's about to drop, but it meant everything to me. You know what I mean? Like they literally sat around me, and I think the energy, like my body, absorb that energy that came with it, you know what I mean, that they were giving off, and I recovered. And so let me tell you what my triumph from that was, one, creating boundaries. You know what I mean? I've learned boundaries, for myself, you know what I mean? So that I will never, you never know what life, but to hopefully prevent, because I do think that what I was suffering from could have been preventable if I had boundaries, you know what I mean? But it was probably, something I needed to go through, especially being 40 years old, you got to go through, whatever. But my triumph was, and my gift was, boundaries, learning boundaries. I love God. I always do. Like I speak on him, like none other, because I've seen him, I've been front seat. He saved my father, and I've seen him do some things. So I'm big about the Lord, but I got to really hear him too. You know what I mean? So that was a triumph of being able to sit still, even though I was like going through this battle, of being able to sit still and hear him talk. And he literally helped me write out these goals for myself. And I've been kicking butt on these goals and doing it. You know what I mean? So my triumph is that today I am literally the best version of myself. And it's weird because I always think, anyone who knows me, I'm always like, I'm so amazing. I'm great, just like this. And hey, that might be true, but I feel like I'm even better. You know what I mean? I feel like, even with being a partner to someone, I can be a better even partner to somebody, you know what I mean? Because I learned a lot of, setting boundaries for myself and goals and pushing through. And so, that has been my triumph completely. And so letdowns suck in any area of life, no doubt. But it's the triumphs that come from them. I always say, what if every day was a good day? If every day was a good day and everything was a good moment, we wouldn't even know it was a good moment. We wouldn't have anything to cheer about. We wouldn't be like, oh, thank you, Jesus. We wouldn't be any of that because we didn't know what bad was. So I'm thankful for all triumphs that come from letdowns. And even though I don't like a letdown, it's always a teaching moment. So
right. Yeah, no, and like I said, wherever you're at within your life, I would say, especially for those who believe in a higher power, right? You are going to do your best to view and see things in a certain way that keeps you seeing on a positive end, and that balance with you going through what you went through and that time missing that, relationships, like you had to live it out. You had to literally live it out. Good, bad, and indifferent. You know what I'm saying? You had to see your reality of it You had to see it. Yeah, you see what I did? Yeah, that's what we do here.
Love it.
So like, look, it's all love. Trust me. I'll just look. People throw alley oops. I don't mind slamming them like Giannis in the playoffs. Like that's how I roll. So when I see our brothers and sisters strive through things and make it out of them, no matter how long the time frame is, it's always a wonderful thing because I know whom and what we're up against. And I know how we can be our own worst enemies as well. And and that's why self-reflection and self-care is so important, because if you don't reflect and see how you are, it's just hard for you to be able to care for yourself and care for others. Just piggyback a little bit off what you were saying earlier. If our sisters don't be there for continue to be there for their princes and kings and their lay people, then it's hard pressed for us to be able to do well like we need to, because we are supposed to look out for each other well. We're not supposed to look for anybody else to do it for us first or better. If it happens that way, then it does for a grander thing. But the biggest picture and the biggest thing is us looking out for each other well. And I think the more and more we continue to see it that way, no matter if it's just a faithful few of us, we're going to be okay. And that's why I appreciate you and many other of our sisters so much. And you see that, I strive to protect you all in my own way, support and encourage you all, and be there for you all, because I know that it's important. It's already inertly in me. It's already innate in me to do so. Then I was raised to do it. And then I accepted it as my own man. You see what I'm saying? Knowing that it's a collective. So it's like, we got to get it. We got to get it. And we get it together. It's a beautiful thing when we do that. So no, that was, like I said, great questions. I really appreciate you asking and sharing, that portion of your journey so far. And I love, that you had your seeds in the family there to show what you helped show them. Because all this was, a domino effect of what you shown them. You see what I'm saying? What they've gathered from, things, possibly from their father, from their family, from their friends, things they seen, but the things that you consistently help pour into them that only a mother, only a human woman can be able to do. So I love to see it. I know I've got to receive it for the good and indifferent things my mom, showed me. I got to see certain things. Me and my sister got to see certain things. My friends that call my mom call her that because, those things. So I know you receive those things as well. She's an older grandma. She's a granny. She's definitely granny status now. But, but at the same time, it's a beautiful thing to see, how you all have moved about and moved forward. Like I said, there's going to be things we're going to speak more on, we bring you back and come on with other guests. But I think this one's a strong one. I think that is a closer. That was a closer. I think so. That was a good closer.
Yeah, it's good to end on a positive note, right?
Yeah, no. And I think it was, if they let me know, I think it was all positive, but like I said, not so much somber to see the triumph over the trauma and the tragedy and so the quote unquote tragedy and depression, because it's very real. I've dealt with it. I had to be real with myself and say, hey, I deal with these things. Like I have to be real with myself and others and say, hey, I deal with these things. And sometimes I'm faking it till I make it. Sometimes I'm being positive and joyful because I know that it's real and important, but I'm really feeling shitty. I'm really like, these situations are effed up right now that I'm going through, and I feel lonely. I feel like I'm by myself and dealing with it. But when I remind myself of the tools that I have and the resources that I have and these sources that created such an amazing man, like, oh shoot, I'm gonna be good. We're gonna be good. Let me reach out to somebody I know that genuinely cares. Let me allow them in when they reach out. Like things like that. So, we got to keep forward with that. But I do want, saying, like end it, saying right now, knowing something from you because you shared something earlier, and here on Speak on It, it's about about us humans, about African diaspora, and our people building up. Do you feel let down by this country's leadership? And for how long have you felt it, if so?
Have we ever been uplifted? I mean, by it, let down. I don't let down. I think if I allow myself to go down the rabbit hole, the answer would be yes. But like I said earlier, there's a lot of things that I don't give a fuck about. Like I just don't. And for my own self, I stay within a certain things, and I stay in the area of things that I can help and things that I can. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess if I went down that rabbit hole, yes, the answer would be yes. Okay. I really try to focus on we have a lot of positive Black people in our community. You know what I mean? A lot of Black people in our history that done so many things. I love, just listening to different YouTubes of this like positive people saying, Black Twitter can be crazy. They be crazy sometimes, right? They got some shit to say, but you come across some people really speaking on it. You know what I mean? So that's really where I put my focus. I really don't get all into, and that's the difference one between me and my best friend. She's very political about certain stuff. And I'm just like, I choose to use my energy towards, the positive Black Twitter, some of the funny shit too. You know what I mean? Stuff of our histories that was empowering. You know what I mean? Friends that I have that are empowering, and so and I have a partner that's very empowering. So that's where I keep my focus. And so the answer is, like I said, yeah, if I went down that rabbit hole, but I tend not to. I really focus on the greatness we are as people. I cannot wait until we all as a collective realize we are great and we can take all this shit down, you know what I mean? And just be great and have our own government and our own runnings, and people, of course that's going to come with people wanting to take leadership, you know what I mean? Because there's going to be, you have to have leaders, you know what I mean? Right. In different areas. But yeah, so to answer your question, the real life answer is probably going to be no, because that's not where my focus is. Okay. I've never been in tune with, I did like Bill Clinton though. I was a kid, but I did like him, He was doing some wild shit in the White House, and I was like, get it, But that's not who I look to as our leaders. You know what I mean? I don't consider them my leaders. So right.
Yeah. No, no, that's your, no, I just want to make
that's
sure
my answer. Yeah.
No worries. Thank you. No, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that. And I think our listeners will as well. And I think because of, our people, we know who we connected to. The highest person we probably know we've seen is the mayor in our city, right? That's where depending how big your city is. That's the person that you probably seen more than anybody. Under that, you see certain council members and, and other folks, police officers, things like that, the race soldiers, you see them and other folks, the fire department people, you see those folks, but everybody else is community people, for us for the most part. So yeah, I get you on that. Yeah, no, I used to be let down because I, was told that I can believe in that, believe in them to do well. But once I started looking at it and experiencing certain things on my own, I was like, oh, nah, we the people. We the people. We do the changing around here. This is a popularity contest, and a bad one at that. And, they care about what they care about in their agendas. And both parties are garbage, overall. It's just all who blends in what agenda that you actually like the most. That's usually what it boils down to, because they all in cahoots, to be honest, because if they really wanted to help the people, things would be different. So that's why we, me and our community, we call it the failed states of America, because this experiment has failed, epically failed. So no, we definitely need reparations. We definitely need separation.
Yes, my kids get mad at me, man. I'm like, they should have kept us equal but separate. You know what I mean?
Right.
My kids be like,
yeah, I don't. Right.
what?
Exactly.
I'm like, I would have been happy and fine. Like, keep us equal,
What?
but I'm cool with just kicking it with my folks. Like, I don't, you know. So it is what it is.
It's okay when everybody else does it. You know what I'm saying? But when we do it, somebody got to be nosy in our business. So, you know, you just spoke on that. So, like, that's a continued conversation. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's always good. You can have Hispanic area, Chinatown. Literally call it Chinatown. And it's
literally called Chinatown in every state you go to.
Every major city.
Major city.
Soon as our folks want to do something, we need to see the agent in there. All right, this pretty looking white girl. Let's make sure she get that brother because he speaks the Queen's English well, so we can know we can trap him. Oh, this sister, she's good. She want to stay on the plantation. So let's send her in. Let's send these brothers that want this money because it's still to continue the root of all evil. So we can use them. Like all of these different things. So like soon as we do something, they already want to infiltrate. So that's why we got to be able to have our own. But the folks who they believe in having charge are celebrities and entertainers. And we got to raise up our children if they're going to do it to be awakened. We can't continue the same path that the majority have been used to and then have the agenda be, something that is pushed and continue to be pushed and messed out. Our people been had gay people and in our community and our families that we loved. That we've been saying stuff of you make jokes, you do whatever, they make jokes, whatever. They've been in our community, they've been in our family, they've been around. This agenda for it is something that has pushed that to the other side. Now people are grown thinking, oh, let me put my sexuality agenda above my ethnicity. And that's never going to help us. So so these are things that continue to have us hundreds of years behind because we keep allowing it because we're not telling and showing because there's a balance. It's not just showing, it's not just telling. Showing is better, but it's not the only. We're not telling and showing our folks like, hey, it's bigger than that. And it's deeper than that, even spiritually, that we've been able to get to. You call us African Americans, but we don't get to know about our African religion. We don't get to know about African spirituality. We taught about what you say we're supposed to know about from descendants of slave masters, but we don't get to find our own until we find out our own. So that hits different too. So like I said, we got a good ways to go. All of it might not happen within our lifetime, but if we continue to do our part and expand and expound on things like we need to, we're going to be able to live, and build better. But, like I said, this is a great conversation. I'm so glad you came on with me today, Shontay. You appreciate it. You're one of my, my favorite new sisters. I got none but love for you, and like I said, we're definitely going to have you back whenever you're available. You just let me know and we just keep building from there. Okay.
Sounds good. I appreciate you having me on today. And let's keep this show going. Let's people subscribe, you know what I mean? Like, do whatever you got to do so that TC can stay on air because he's doing great things for the community and he's looking out and hey, he's our brother. Like, you know what I mean? Talk great positive talks and he doesn't just talk about it. What I do know about TC, he's making movements in his community and hopefully to spread out to other communities. So let's get it going. Let's like and subscribe. Let's keep him on here.
That really means a lot, especially coming from you. So no, all the love and support is appreciated. Like I said, I'm not asking, no matter what's in my bank account, and I'm not asking no one for any dollars. I ain't gonna stop nobody and block my blessings.
Hey, I want a cash app. No,
look, but that's not what we're here for.
That's not what we're here for.
Exactly.
People.
Like you liking the video helps with the algorithms. It helps with building movement. You're subscribing. You're keeping the notification bell on, not missing anything. You checking it out and sharing it with your folks, your family, friends, and coworkers. Like that helps me. That's what I need from you all. And more than anything, commenting and keeping these conversations going. I'm here to help spark the thoughts and then the conversations. Like continue these conversations where you're going with these topics and then share what you want to hear. This is our channel. My name is on it and I'm building the brand. but I can't do it without you, and I don't want to. That's the whole point, is it to be for us. So if I'm not hearing from you all, then that's on you. But I put it out there as much time, so when y'all do it more, I speak on it less, and I can speak on other things more. But I'm going to continue to put that in your ear with love and respect, saying, "Hey, I need you." Ain't too many black men gonna say they need someone. We're not built for that. So my pride isn't in the way. This is for us. So it's all love. It's all appreciation. And until next time, everybody be well, be protected, and be empowered. Okay.
Take care.
Take care.